Welcome to the moderator special town meeting info session for our special town meeting, which will be in a week on Tuesday, January 24th at the William E. Norris School on Pomeroy Meadow Road, 7 o'clock, and it's scheduled to go from 7 to 10. I'm Robert Floyd, your town moderator, and we have a tradition where about a week or so before a town meeting, annual or special, we read the articles, not the motions, because they can change, but we read the articles. Anybody in the audience can ask questions, and especially on a night like tonight, you're safe at home with popcorn. You can watch and hear more about what we're going to be debating and discussing and voting on next Tuesday. There'll be no debates this evening. There'll be no opinions, strictly information. And we encourage you to become involved and attend your town meeting next Tuesday. So I'll start. Article 1, Health Department Amendment to the non-criminal disposition bylaw, to see if the town will vote to amend the non-criminal disposition bylaw to include enforcement of trash hauler and recycling operational regulations in Title V septic system inspection regulations, so that the non-criminal disposition bylaw shall read, Section 1, whoever violates any provision of these bylaws, the violation of which is subject to a specific penalty, may be penalized by non-criminal disposition as provided in Mass General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 21D. The non-criminal method of disposition may also be used for violation of any rule or regulation of any municipal officer, board, or department, which is subject to a specific penalty. Section 2, without intending to limit the generality of the foregoing, it is the intention of this article that the following bylaws and regulations are to be included within the scope of this article, that the specific penalties as listed here shall apply in such cases, that in addition to police officers who shall in all cases be considered enforcing persons for the purpose of this article, the municipal personnel listed for each section, if any, shall also be enforcing persons for such section, and that each day on which any violation exists shall be deemed to be a separate offense.
This is Charlie Konecki, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen. This is basically to allow the Board of Health some flexibility to be able to issue tickets without having to go through a court process for enforcement. It's just to simplify the rules for the Board of Health and to basically give people minimum fineage if they violate it and move the project forward.
Okay, thank you. Part 2, zoning bylaws. General community solar bylaw amendments, to see if the town will vote to amend Section 5, use regulations, Table 1, use regulations of the zoning bylaws by adding the following: wholesale, transportation, and industrial. And it does list about 4 or 5 boxes: roof-mounted solar electrical generating facility, small-scale DC solar electric generating facility, medium-scale, intermediate scale, and large-scale. And further to amend Section 16, solar electric generating facilities, Sections G and H, in the following manner: site plan review is required for all, small scale, site plan approval is required for all, medium scale, intermediate scale, large scale.
Basically, this is to allow people more flexibility of installing solar units. And we need to do this so that the town becomes eligible as a green community to apply for grants from the state. We have all the projects put together for this except for this one piece. There was an omission at the last town meeting that needed to be addressed. That's what this is. And it actually makes it less restrictive for the residents so they can move forward with solar.
Thank you. Financial items, Part 3, Article 3, retroactive compensation for police officers, to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $14,200.81 to fund retroactive compensation as part of the new Southampton Police Collective Bargaining Agreement. said sum to be taken from free cash.
Select Board about 2 weeks ago signed the contract for the Police Department, Policemen's Union. This is basically retroactive pay for last year that was included in that contract.
Thank you. Article 4, prior year unpaid bill for telephone line. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $419.86 to pay a bill from Verizon from fiscal 2016. Said sum shall be taken from free cash.
As it says, it's an outstanding bill. Evidently, it was embedded in other bills and wasn't noticed until it was picked up by accounting. And it's a legit bill that we just simply missed to pay last year.
Okay, thank you. Article 5, prior year unpaid bill for the school lunch program. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $13,574.91 to the school lunch program to pay for unfunded deficit from fiscal 2016. Said sum to be taken from free cash.
Basically, what happened was when the school department was going through its last year's budget, they discovered the fact that there was an outstanding debt, and they brought this in forward to town so that we can basically balance their books from last year.
Thank you. Article 6, transfer of free cash to the Capital Stabilization Fund. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $173,943 to the Capital Stabilization Fund. Said sum to be taken from free cash.
Basically, we ended up with close to $500,000 in free cash. The selectmen have a policy of moving this money around for different accounts in the town to basically run the town. I believe 35% of that goes into capital expenses. You'll see if this money's transferred, it will be asked to allocate to purchase things down the road in this town meeting.
Thank you. Article 7, transfer of free cash to the Operating Stabilization Fund. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $149,094 to the Operating Stabilization Fund. Said sum to be taken from free cash.
This is basically the town's rainy day fund. This will probably bring us close to $300,000 in this account, and it truly is a rainy day account. In case something occurs that we need to pull some money, that's where we pull it from. It's our savings account.
Okay, thank you. Article 8, transfer of free cash to the OPEB fund. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $49,689 to the other post-employment benefits OPEB account. Said sum to be taken from free cash.
It's going to take us a number of years to build this account up. I believe it needs to have somewhere close to $700,000 in it in the next 10 years. This is our attempt to keep building it up. This is not the only money that's in there. I think it'll bring it up to somewhere around $75,000, $80,000. So we've just started this last year. So we take a percentage of our free cash and we put it into that account so that we can take care of our retirees as we need to.
Thank you. Article 9, signage at the Zipter Farm Conservation Area. To see if the town will vote to amend the vote taken under Article 8 of the warrant for the special town meeting on October 18, 2016, which read, to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $1,000 to fund a wildlife interpretive sign in memory of Edward Nee Jr. to be placed at the Zipter Farm Conservation Area, featuring wildlife photographs taken by the late Edward Nee Jr. Said sums to be taken from the Community Preservation Open Space Recreation account. As follows, to amend. To see if the town will vote to transfer the amount of $1,000 to fund a wildlife interpretive sign in memory of Edward Nee Jr. to be placed at the Zipter Farm Conservation Area featuring photographs of local wildlife, said sums to be taken from the Community Preservation Open Space Recreation account.
Basically, the money was allocated at the last town meeting. However, the photographs that we needed were unobtainable, so we need to change the language so that it reflects what we're actually doing with the signage.
Thank you. Article 10, funding for town administrator search. To see if the town will vote to transfer $5,000 to the Board of Selectmen expense line for the purpose of retaining a consultant to assist the screening committee in recruiting a permanent town administrator. Said sum to be taken from free cash.
The town administrator is the major linchpin in the town for all departments to basically connect and report to, who then takes and advises the Board of Selectmen. We feel that the search committee is going to need some expertise on hand to help with these screenings and stuff so we can get the most qualified individuals to work for our community.
Thank you. Article 11, prior year legal bills. To see if the town would transfer $6,500 to the prior year bills account to cover additional legal expense is for fiscal 2016. Said sum to be taken from free cash.
Again, this is just an old bill that we're playing catch-up with.
Okay, thank you. Article 12, purchase of a copier fax scanner for the accounting office. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $4,000 to the account expense line for the purchase of a new copier fax scanner, said sum to be taken from free cash.
Basically, the photocopier that the town accountant has is antiquated and falling apart, be blunt.
Okay.
It's time.
Thank you. Article 13, transfer additional funds to the tree warden. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $2,500 to the tree warden expense line to take down dangerous trees and tree limbs in town. Said sums to be taken from free cash.
We had an episode on Gilbert Road very early on in the season, which cost us a number of dollars to take and remove the trees and stuff from the microburst. This is to bring the tree warden's budget back in so that when we start dealing with the new spring problems, we actually have funding to take these trees down that are going to obviously become obvious when we see them.
Okay, thank you. Article 14, additional funding for police overtime. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $35,000 from police wages to the police overtime wage line.
Basically, we've had a number of police officers that have gone out ill, and so we need to adjust our line items. This is not new money. This is just money coming from one police department line item to another, just so that the police chief can utilize the funding to pay his officers.
Okay, thank you. Article 15, additional funds for police building expenses. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $6,000 to the police building expense line for a needed utility expense for remainder of fiscal year. Said sum to be taken from free cash.
Prior to this year, that building account was merged in with this building's account because it was the old town hall and the new town hall. So we did our best guess to estimate what the expenses were going to be at the old town hall, which is the police station, and our guess wasn't as accurate as we thought. So there's going to be a shortfall in that budget, and that's what this is to make up for that shortfall.
Okay, thank you. Article 16, transfer from free cash to fund police chief COLA for fiscal 2016. To see if the town will vote to transfer $1,246.32 from free cash to the wages account of the chief of police to fund a retroactive cost of living increase fiscal 2016 for the chief of police.
Basically, we appointed an acting chief in October of a year ago, and we went through contract negotiations and didn't finalize them until July of 2016. So the acting police chief missed his COLA increase as all the other town employees secured it at that time. This is basically to make him whole for what was an omission.
Okay, thank you. Article 17, transfer to the Board of Health budget. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $10,000 to the Health Department wage line to provide for additional hours for the health director and health agent during fiscal 2017. Said sum to be taken from free cash.
There's been some extraordinary issues that the Board of Health has had to deal with that wasn't budgeted for, requiring more man hours, and this is basically to make them more solvent so they can come to the end of the year with their budget intact. This is not the normal way we approach this. They're outside their budget, but we realize the situation's warranted at this time.
Okay, thank you. Article 18, transfer for Edwards Library HVAC system. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $9,382 to the Edwards Library expense line to fund upgrades to the HVAC system, said sum to be taken from free cash.
Basically, we funded to take and redo the air conditioning, air handling systems in that building, but when the bids went out and all the rest of that, the small conference room at the front of the building was omitted. There's an air handling system in there with controls in that. It doesn't make any sense to take and refurbish the rest of the building and leave that room with its antiquated equipment. So this is to basically fund that so that we can bring it right across the table and have the entire building redone. It's a shortfall in the budget that was unexpected.
Thank you. Article 19, transfer to the tax title account. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $3,000 to the tax title account for expenses related to pursuing tax title properties, said sum to be taken from free cash.
Basically, we have a number of properties that are in the process of tax title. We need to hire an attorney to pursue this, and that's what this is all about. It's a revolving account. Hopefully, when those properties go back to the town and are auctioned off, there will be money that will come back into that revolving account to keep this program going.
Okay. Thank you. Article 20, transfer for the purchase of defibrillators. To see if the town will vote to transfer $4,300 to the fire department expense line for the purchase of defibrillators. I don't say that word often, do I? To be shared by the fire and police departments, said sum to be taken from free cash.
You should try spelling that word and having spell check constantly correct you.
Oh, yes, I could lead.
It's like, what? But anyways, what it comes down to is the defibrillators that we have in the police cars and the ambulances, even in town hall, have become outdated, and it's time to bring everything back up to current standards.
Okay, thank you. Article 21, transfer for the purchase of turnout gear for the fire department. To see if the town will vote to transfer $9,000 to the fire department expense line for the purchase of firefighter equipment known as turnout gear, said sum to be taken from free cash.
We're having a lot of firemen that have been going through the training and are becoming certified firefighters in that, and the equipment we have is old, and you need to keep updating this. This is a yearly maintenance to take and have turnout gear purchased in that. It looks like a lot of money for that, but you're probably looking at 3 or 4 complete turnout gears. So we constantly, every year, have been allocating money for this to keep the firemen safe and have the proper equipment. And you have to appreciate, this is not one size fits all.
Thank you. Article 22, traffic safety assessment for the Norris Elementary School. To see if the town will vote to transfer $5,000 to the Highway Department expense account to fund a traffic safety assessment for the Norris Elementary School, said sum to be taken from free cash.
We have a serious parking problem on Palmer Meadow Road. This has led to the police department and the highway department to ask the Board of Selectmen to put this article forward so a proper study can be done, so that we can determine what our course of action should be relative to this parking issue.
Okay. Thank you. Article 23, additional hours for the Highway Department Administrative Assistant. To see if the town will vote to transfer $4,360.20 from the Highway Department expenses line to the Highway Department Administrative wage line to fund 10 additional hours per week for the administrative assistant.
This is an internal transfer in the department. It's not new money, and it's basically because there are a number of projects that need to be finished by July. So it's an internal transfer, and it's no different than us transferring police wages from one side to the other. It's housekeeping.
Okay, thank you. Article 24, removal of gasoline storage tank at the Highway Department. To see if the town will vote to transfer $30,000 to the Highway Department expense line to fund the removal of a gasoline storage tank as required by the State Department of Environmental Protection, said sum to be transferred from the Operating Stabilization Fund.
You remember what I said about rainy day fund? That's the rainy day fund we're looking to draw from. The $30,000 at this point is an estimate. What we're trying to do is determine what the actual cost is going to be. So if we spend less than this, it'll just be returned to the stabilization account. What we have is a situation where we have an indicator that shows that there was a leak in that tank. It's a secondary type tank, one tank inside of another tank, so therefore it didn't leak out to the surrounding ground, but the alarm went off, so the tank's been shut down and it's laid dormant for over a year. By law, we're required to remove that tank, and that's what this money is for, is to basically study it, see what the proper removal would be, and to secure it, either by removing it or filling it up with concrete. But at that point, that's why it's only an estimate of $30,000, and a good faith effort will be made to try to keep that cost down. And like I said, that money will go right back to stabilization.
Okay, thank you. Article 25, return funds to the operating stabilization fund. See if the town will vote to return $3,200 to the operating stabilization fund, said sum to be taken from free cash.
The last town meeting, we transferred $3,200 out of our rainy day account, and I was asked if this money would be returned. I assured everybody if there was enough free cash, there would be, and that's what this is all about, returning that money that we borrowed, 5 months ago.
Okay, thank you. Article 26, straw poll regarding plowing of private roads. To see if the town meeting will approve a ballot question at the town election in May 2017 on adoption of state enabling legislation to permit plowing of snow on private roads to ensure access for emergency vehicles.
The purpose of this article is to get it in front of the town so that the town realizes that the Board of Selectmen are dealing with a situation here where we have certain private roads that have been plowed historically but have not been accepted by the town, and therefore that's contrary to what state law says. And the Select Board doesn't technically have the authority to take and allow this to continue. You are going to see more meetings on this. Hopefully in February, we will be sending letters out to all the property owners that are on these streets, and in March, we'll probably have a meeting at the school. The purpose of this article, Robert, is basically to make people aware that this is an issue coming up.
Okay. And by that time, we'll have a list of the individual
The
roads.
lists are being drafted.
Okay.
The problem with the list, if I may be candid, is that we have a town clerk's office with one list, a highway superintendent with another list, and Mass Department of Transportation with another list. So everything's trying to get gelled together so we know where we're at. Stay tuned.
Okay. Thank you. Part 4, General, Capital Improvements, Article 27, laptop computers for the William E. Norris School. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $80,000 to the Norris School expense line for the purchase of laptop computers, said sum to be transferred from the Capital Stabilization Fund.
The Norris School needs laptops in order to take and do the MCAT tests required by the state. This $80,000 is half of it. Their estimate is about $160,000. The hope is to allocate $80,000 this year and then to seek $80,000 this coming year so that they have the proper equipment so that they can do the testing and educate the children at the school.
Thank you. Article 28, wood chipper for the Highway Department. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $46,000 for the purchase of a wood chipper for the Highway Department. Said sum to be transferred from the Operating Stabilization Fund.
Again, this is a situation where we have an extremely antique wood chipper with minimal to no safeguards for the employees. It's on its last leg. It is now time to take and redo this machine, so that's what this article is about, is basically replacing something that needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
It's coming from the operating stabilization or the capital stabilization?
Capital
Operating.
should be coming out of capital, so a motion will have to be made that it's a capital.
Wasn't there a shortage in capital, which is why it had to come from?
Oh, you're right, you're right.
Well, can we take it from operating if it's a capital item?
Yes.
Yes,
As long as capital recommended.
the article's correct.
The article is correct. By the way, the article is what it is. The motions can tweak what the article is, and rather than amending the article, the motion can be created.
Part of the problem we're having here is John's not on microphone.
Yes.
So his question was, does this have to come out of operational? That is our rainy day account. You asked if it would come out of capital, and there's not enough funding in capital for it, but there is an operational, and because of the severity of the equipment, the feeling was to go to the rainy day account to pull that out so that we'd have that done. I'm just repeating it so that the audience hears what.
Yes.
Come close to the microphone.
Come close to the microphone.
Yeah, come close.
So for the
Get closer.
Article 28 is coming, I'm sorry, Article 28 is coming from operating stabilization.
Right,
Okay.
Yes.
yeah, not capital. There's not enough funding in capital.
Yeah.
And Heather was absolutely right. I'm glad she chimed in. I forgot.
Teamwork, teamwork.
I thought it was old age, but anyways.
Thank you. Article 29, Fire Department brush truck. To see if the town will vote to transfer $88,620 for the purchase of a brush truck for the fire department. Said sum to be transferred from the capital stabilization fund.
All right, there's enough money in capital savings for this. Our brush truck is antique to the antique level, non-functional. Given the amount of development in this town in rural areas, I believe, and everyone else does, that this brush truck is necessary for the fire departments, and this is basically upgrading their equipment. The last fire truck that was purchased, I believe, was in probably 2010, something like that. But that was a fire truck, and this is nowhere near the size of a fire
Share
truck.
with the audience what a brush truck is.
A brush truck is basically a glorified pickup truck with a slide rack in the back that has hoses and pumps and hand tools so that they can bring it to the scene of a fire in a forest so that they can take and work the fire.
Great, thanks. Part 5, Water Enterprise Fund. Article 30, Replacement of Water Mains. To see if the town will vote to transfer funds from the Water Enterprise Retained Earnings Account for the replacement of water mains and other related work along College Highway in association with the Safe Routes to School Sidewalk Installation Project.
You may or may not have heard, but the state is going to be funding the installation of sidewalks basically from Pomeroy Meadow Road, College Highway, down to just past East Hampton Savings Bank, past Cumberland Farms. If they're going to be putting in sidewalks, some crosswalks, and everything else, it is timely to replace that water line so that we don't have to dig everything up and destroy everything when a water line breaks. This money is coming out of the Water Department's capital account. It's not coming out of the general budget, and it's basically just a transfer internally for them so that this can move forward.
Will there be a final dollar amount by the next Tuesday?
I hope so, but the amount that was being discussed was $100,000.
Okay.
That was the money being discussed, but hopefully at town meeting that, there better be a number at town meeting, right?
Yes.
But, yeah. I mean, basically, it's a good business practice. If we're going to replace the sidewalks or put in sidewalks, move utilities, put traffic lights in, it makes sense to get below ground and replace the water lines now.
Okay, great. Well, that's our 30 articles, and the motions will be worded to be under the umbrella of each article, but the motions has some room for movement and play, and that's what makes everything work well. A lot of gray areas. Town meeting next Tuesday, 24th, 7 o'clock, William E. Norris School. I'll be sitting down hopefully the next day or two with our town administrator and our deputy town moderator, Carl Keener, to go over the motions. So I thank everyone, and the buses will be leaving shortly for all you in the audience from the back doors. Safe home. Thank you.